Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheryl Moore, and you are tuning into our YouTube channel. This is something that I've really had on my mind for a couple years and wanted to start, but earnestly, I just haven't gotten out of my butt and done it because of two main things. Number one, I don't want to put makeup on and do my hair every day when I come to work. And number two, I was fearful that I couldn't commit to doing a show on YouTube on the same day of every week. So I'm gonna wing it. This is an important enough issue that I really want for everybody to understand it and have a very strong basis for their decisions when it comes to the important topic that we'll be covering on Indexed Girl's YouTube channel. That's me, Indexed Girl. And by the way, this is Pepperwinkle Moore. He is my Italian Greyhound, also known as a miniature Greyhound. So he comes to the office every day with me, and he may join us occasionally on the channel here. By the way, he is probably the most spoiled dog in the insurance industry. Bye, Pepperwinkle. The topic of this channel is really life insurance and annuities. And I know that so many people feel that that's a really boring topic, and it just seems like it's something that rich people might ask about, or only people who are wealthy might have. And that's part of the reason why I'm starting this channel too, because those things are not true. I got into the life insurance industry about 15 years, quite by accident, I will add. And I've learned since that there is a lot of misinformation out there about life insurance and annuities. And that's part of the reason why I'm starting this YouTube channel. I started this business about 8 years ago. We'll talk a little bit more about the evolution of my business and what we call ourselves and what we do, maybe a little bit later in our YouTube series. But for now, I just want for everyone to know that I am a market research analyst. What I do for a living is technically called competitive intelligence. And in the layman's terms, it might mean I spy on insurance companies to help ensure that my clients' products, competitive product offerings, marketing, training are the best, the least expensive, the most attractive to consumers, what have you. But I will say that as a whole, I've become an advocate of the insurance industry, and there's a very big reason for that. And I think that there's actually a number of reasons that have really aggregated to form a very strong, passionate response from myself about life insurance and annuities. But what it comes down to is that I don't endorse any company or product. I don't take money from any company to say that they're better than the other guys or that their product is better than another guy's. I've helped to develop a lot of life insurance and annuities, and I have never collected money off of the sale of those products. In fact, I am a licensed insurance agent and have been for more than a decade, and I spend thousands of dollars every year on my own life insurance and annuities. And what I do is I fill out the paperwork, and some other guy comes over to sign the application and collect a nice little commission check. So I just want to ensure that there's never any perception that I think you should sell with this company or I think you should buy with that company. You'll never get that from me. And in fact, I have a reputation in the insurance industry for being the source and the person that you can come to for credible information, regardless of which company or product or distributor you're talking about. So I want to make sure that that continues as we progress through this YouTube channel. As you can see, I don't have a script, and I really thought about that at first. I am a keynote speaker. I've never had a scripted engagement, and I think that I tend to perform a little bit better when I shoot from the hip. Because all the stuff is up here, I really don't need that script, but I may write some notes later just because I want to make sure that there are items that I don't forget to tell you about. But ultimately, I guess this is a journey that we're going to take together, and it's going to last probably years and years. And some days I'll just feel like going on a rant and educating you on one specific topic. And other days I might spend, 15 minutes talking about this basic premise that everybody needs to understand. But what this channel is really going to be about is educating you, the consumer, you, the person who's considering becoming a licensed insurance agent, you, the experienced sales professional, on life insurance and annuity products. Now, that being said, I am an expert. I'm a nationally recognized expert. And I tend to focus on the fastest growing segment of the insurance market, which are products called indexed life insurance and indexed annuities. And I've been an expert in those products for almost the entire 15 years that I've been doing this. But I've also worked on fixed insurance products, fixed annuities, variable annuities, you name it. I've worked with it. Term life insurance, I've done that. Whole life, I cut my teeth on it. So that being said, I want to thank you for coming into our forum. I hope that this ends up being super, super valuable, because it's so shameful how our nation has such a misunderstanding about life insurance and annuities. And it's really scary that there's a lack of credible information for people who are looking for reliable data on those products. One reason I started this business close to 8 years ago is because I had to re-enter the workforce after, probably 6 or 7 years. I was a single mom with 3 babies, the oldest of which was born with birth defects and health problems. And it required that I stay home with him. And when I found out quite unexpectedly that I was going to have to be a single mother, I thought, well, I went to school to become a FBI profiler. My work experience to this point has been managing a grocery store. What can I do in the city of Des Moines, Iowa, where if my employer is, acquired or goes bankrupt, or if my position is outsourced, that I can just walk across the street and do the same darn thing? Well, I live in Des Moines, Iowa, and I like to refer to Des Moines as the indexed annuity capital of the world. I like to call it heaven on earth too, but a lot of people would argue with me in that. Given the case that right now it is early March, we do have snow on the ground, and we're facing like 30-mile-per-hour winds today, and it's only in the teens, I think, outside. But I still think it's heaven. And the first thing that people think of when they think of Des Moines, outside of it being heaven, is that it's an insurance mecca. In fact, we are the second largest insurance capital in the United States and third largest in the world. That's behind London, England, and Hartford, Connecticut. And for those of you who are saying, oh yeah, well, why is that? I'm a plethora of useless information. The premium tax rate that the state charges insurance companies to do business here is very competitive and less than in most states. So that's why you see a high concentration of insurance companies in the state of Iowa, particularly in Des Moines, Iowa. In fact, we have over 300 different insurance companies that are domiciled in the Iowa area. And I could name off a bunch of them, but I don't endorse any company or product, so I'm not going to do that. So I went back to work and I got a job in insurance. The thing that was really crummy was that when I was a stay-at-home mom, they came up with this thing called the internet, and I was really sheltered from it. So when I started employment with my very first insurance company, I had, as part of my benefits enrollment package, a decision to make about a retirement plan. And my previous employment had been at a company that was employee-owned, so I had an employee stock ownership program. At my new company, they were just giving me an option for a thing called a 401k. And I didn't know a lot about that. I remember being in a room full of like 60 other people who were new to the company and having to make similar decisions about their health care and their retirement accounts. And I just remember asking, how do I know what I want to do? Is this something I should do? And all the HR reps kept saying, well, of course you want to do it. There's a 3% match or 4% match. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was really big for standards at that time. And right now it would be unprecedented. So everybody just kept talking about how my employer had this, 4% match, and it'd be stupid to give it away because it was free money. And of course I should do the 401k. So I did it. And, I really didn't know what to do with it. When I asked, where should I be allocating my monies inside of this 401k? All I can tell you is that I don't want to lose money. Oh, well, just log on to the American Century website and you'll see all your different fund options there and you can allocate them as you wish. I didn't even know what that meant. And the stupidest thing looking back was that I didn't know that you could lose money in a 401k. And that sounds really stupid, but it was a really hard mistake for me to learn. Because I was so poor as a single mom with 3 babies who at one time were in diapers all at the same time that I relied on my church for milk. I barely got by. I didn't take the kids out to see movies and do things that cost money. We went to the park and the library because those things didn't cost money, but we could still have fun doing them. And so in the year 2000, which I know a lot of you are familiar with this and went through a similar situation. In the year 2000, when I lost a lot of money when the market collapsed and my 401k became a 201k, I was shocked because I didn't know I could lose money. When I got that 401k, they just gave me this big, huge book called a prospectus and they said, here, go home and read this. And between all of my son's surgeries and all the diaper changing, I got to it. Honestly, I didn't read a page of that prospectus. So I had to learn the hard way that I was in a retirement strategy where I could lose money despite the fact that I didn't feel good losing money. And so at the time, I had this wonderful, wonderful boss. And he's a man that I still look up to today. I consider him to be the person who taught me everything I know in this business. And I looked to him for guidance and said, what should I do with this 401k thing? I don't feel good losing money, and yet I just lost a lot of money. I don't want that to happen again. And my boss at the time said, well, why didn't you buy an indexed annuity? And I said, what's an annuity? The first thing that came through my mind was all those commercials on TV that say, it's my money and I want it now. And I heard of an annuity before. My grandpa owned an annuity. When my grandma had passed away at a very early age of cancer, I knew that my grandpa had taken the death benefit proceeds and put them into an annuity. But I didn't really know what that was. And my boss at the time just simply responded that an annuity is just another type of product for a retirement income vehicle. So some people use certificates of deposit, which we call CDs for short. Some people use 401ks. There are lots of different products that can be used as a vehicle to accumulate retirement savings, and annuities are just one of them. And I said, well, what's the advantage to this annuity thing as opposed to maybe like a CD? And he said, well, an annuity can guarantee an income that you can never outlive. So you will get a paycheck every month until the day you die, even if when you die you're 170 years old. Now, I'm sure you can tell I'm kind of a young chicken. I've been doing this a long time, but I got in this when I was pretty young. And at the time that I was just getting started in the insurance business, I was hearing so much about how there was going to be all these boomers turning age 65 and how they had trillions of dollars accumulating in their retirement accounts and that they needed to turn them into income, and how Social Security was going to go away and it wouldn't be able to support all of these Americans because they were living longer. Our medical advancements were, coming by in leaps and bounds by the year, and living too long kind of scared me. It seemed silly at the time that I was an expert in life insurance and had been for several years. And I knew well that life insurance is a product that protects against the risk of dying too soon, but I didn't know that an annuity is a product that protects against the risk of living too long. And so when my boss explained that, my next question to him was, well, what's an indexed annuity? And he said, well, an indexed annuity is just a type of annuity that earns interest based on the performance of a stock market index, like the S&P 500. But you will never be subject to losses of your annuity's value as a result of market changes. So when the market goes down, like it did when your 401k turned into a 201k, your indexed annuity will be protected and you'll only earn 0% interest. But on the other side, you're not going to capture all the upside potential or the upside gains of the index. It's going to be limited with an indexed annuity. So if the market goes up 20%, you may only earn 7%. And my response was, that is fine. You know, that sounds like exactly what I wish I would have bought instead of the stinky 201k thing. Where can I buy an indexed annuity? This sounds perfect. And my employer looked me dead in the eye, and I'll never forget his face. He's such a friendly guy, and looking back, you know, I can't decide if the look on his face was of empathy or if it was like, geez, what a pathetic situation, or if it was disbelief. But he just smiled, and his face looked serious nonetheless, and he said, Sheryl, our employer is the #1 seller of indexed annuities in the nation. And I got mad. I got really angry because I thought, my employer never talked to me about this product that they're so good at selling. Why is that? Because my risk tolerance fits that product better than this 401k deal that they pretty much shoved down my throat. Why would they do that? So I resolved to find out whose indexed annuity would be best because I knew that was the right product for me. I started researching and looking up information on that newfangled thing called the internet, and I went to the library, and I really had trouble finding information on indexed annuities. And what little information I did find, I knew to be inaccurate. Because by this time, I had achieved a level at the insurance company that I worked at where I was fairly high up in the company. And so I had certain information available to me, and it really kind of made me sick how there was so little information about life insurance and annuities in general available in the public domain. And so being a smart 20-something Iowa girl, I resolved right then I was going to change that. I thought, I'm going to start my own company. And I even remember telling my best friend at the time, we both worked in the Hub Tower building, which is a pretty, big, important landmark in the city of Des Moines. The interesting thing is that different insurance companies rent out different floors of the building. So you can have people who work at completely different insurance companies meeting up on similar floors. And that happens sometimes. My friend and I would go for what we called pop runs, where we'd meet at this pop machine with really good prices relative to everybody else's pop machines. But we'd meet there every day. And I will never forget telling her, you know what? I know that someday I'm going to be an important person. I am going to start this company because I really think that more people should have information about these products, and it makes me angry that there's no source for that information now. And she just smiled and laughed at me, and she said, I think you should. You'd be good at it. And I said, no, I'm serious. I'm going to do this. Honestly, if you'd pull me aside in private at that time, I would have told you that I was full of SH you-know-what, because I suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder. I do not like stepping outside the box. I don't like change. And the scariest thing in the world for me ever was starting this business. But given the opportunity to do it all over again, I would do the same thing. I don't work a single day in my life. I don't worry about money. I live by the philosophy that if you do what's right and treat other people the way you want to be treated, everything else will take care of itself. And for 8 years, it has been taking care of itself. But I hope that I'm going to get the opportunity to get to know you a little better. Now you know what kind of prompted me to start this business and become who I am. In upcoming episodes, and I'm going to have to think of a snappy name somehow for this channel, I don't know, but in upcoming episodes, I hope that you'll get to know me a lot better, and I'm going to teach you to become a rock star at insurance products, annuities, and life insurance, because I want to make sure that you are able to make an informed decision on your retirement products, on the products that you're going to use to ensure that your debts are paid if you should pass away. And I'm going to teach you about all the different types of products that are available, which are good for this or that, how they are different or alike, and maybe I'll even be able to answer your questions. But for now, I'm just going to say thanks for tuning in. I really hope that I can help you, because that is why I do everything I do. I love helping people, and I also love being the center of attention, so you will get a little bit of that on this channel. But please stay tuned and ask your questions, and know that life insurance and annuities are something that almost every American should have. And I may no longer be a very poor single mom. I live comfortably. I'm not loaded by any means. Maybe that's because we give away a very large percentage of our revenues to charitable organizations that are primarily in the Iowa and their surroundings. I have a lot of organizations that are near and dear to my heart, especially because of my son and the challenges that he has faced throughout his life. So until our next episode, where I'll probably tell you a little bit more about who I am and what I do and how I got to be the indexed rock star. Until then, thank you for tuning in, and I'm really looking forward to our next episode. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.